Hi, Alonda. It looks like this one pot holds sticks that are either incense or air freshener. I think I know exactly what that is. Looking at that and the decanter, it appears that you're looking at things from above, like a bird's eye view. However, the nozzle of the decanter is not exactly persuading me of that. When I look at the horse statue, that seems like we're looking at it from the side. So here, I want you to have one vantage point and check to see how the things look together. Compare the perspective of how they look together, and also include a ground plane. Hi Matt, this is looking really fine. I'm glad to see some suggestion of the plan. It looks to me like something like a Christmas cactus. Mm, I see that you've straightened up the little tin box, and you've also, well, worked over everything, really. I'm still wondering about the flower pot. It must be a plastic one. Pardon me, I haven't read your comments. If you wrote something about that, I'll try to catch up with that pronto. Um, I'm looking at the outer edges of the top rim and that sort of tray at the bottom, and I'm wondering if the parallel lines converged too much at that point, and it might be that it appeared I was suggesting something along those lines to you in my last review. And a little of that's good, but going overboard on that is going to make the perspective look a little awkward. I'm checking to see where your horizon line is, and for the sake of the picture, for example, it's looking low. Would the picture be prone to tip off the table if the horizon line, the far edge of the table, is so close to its base? Adam, I'm really interested to regard this particular composition with a couple of objects that are upright. Everything looks sort of neat and organized with the two vertical cylindrical forms on either end, and then we've got this tipped over coffee mug that is sowing a sense of disarray, sort of throwing a wrench, if you will, into the system. Um, Looking at that, I want you to check the handle and the angle that it emanates from the body of the mug. It's looking a little like the handle isn't centered or isn't extending off of the body of the mug perpendicularly. So check that and maybe minimize the place where the handle joins the body of the mug. In other words, de-emphasize those lines. Now, let's see. I'm looking at the bottom edge of that, maybe it's a candlestick or small vase on the left, and I'm thinking it could be curvier. And if I were you, if I had some thin paper or tracing paper handy, I would just draw the entire shape of that on a separate page directly on top, ignoring the fact that it gets eclipsed by the cup. I think that might help you work out the bottom edge of the shape. Okay, so Lindsay, I'm not sure exactly what you have here. I've got to go take a look in the posts and see if you've written something. I guess we've got a water bottle and maybe some suntan lotion and a dolphin toy. Things look good. I am wondering about the shape of the bottle on the right, what I think must be a water bottle. Why isn't it symmetrical? Go back and look at what Doreen has to say early on in the readings about symmetrical forms and drawing a kind of vertical axis, almost like a north-south pole, and then letting one half be the mirror of the other. In fact, if you're having trouble with that, you can just take a scrap piece of paper, draw it at actual size, um, and fold it in half on the center line, trace the second half on a window and open it up, and then you'll have a neat symmetrical form. These lines look dark for a preliminary layout. Maybe the best thing for you to do would be to trace this on a large window onto a new sheet of good paper and continue with assignment 2 on that. Okay, I think this no-name one is Mike's, and unfortunately the scan didn't turn out as well as it might have. I recommend that you scan on grayscale and then adjust in Photoshop. In this case, maybe it was scanned as a bitmap. Seems to be some sort of a lamp. Looks like a fair start. I'd like you to check the ellipse there by where we see the bulb within the lamp. Just make sure that that's right. It might help to draw a center line down the long length of that. Hi, Jenny. It's nice to see your work here. I can see these subjects, this array of subjects, is pretty ambitious. You know, I find this sort of little chest to be tough to portray. I had a student working on a drawing of something similar last session, so it looks like it's a little treasure chest. I wonder, the place where the lid joins the lower part of the box, is that cut? Is that a slant? If it's straight, the lid has a bottom edge that's parallel with ground. I want you to check that line on the right side. Also, I know what you're working on here. This is sort of a one-point perspective adjustment to the boxy form. But I would like you to check the right side of the box. It just doesn't seem to jive. Maybe it has something to do also with the top edge. It might be that the top edge could be lower on the left. I think the little ink bottle looks pretty good. Might be that the ellipse on the top of the lid could be a little wider, a little higher, that is. The teddy bear looks good too. Now I want you to think about what's going to go in the foreground, because that area is kind of empty and suggests to us some sort of horizon line. Well, hi Daniel, it's nice to see this work advancing. More detail here, and I get a better sense of what the various gadgets are. Is there a lighter standing upright on the right side? I'm just thinking, I'd like you to check that. Make sure it's standing up straight, its verticals are truly vertical. And then another thing you can work on is assembling some cast shadows on ground to establish the ground plane. Now, Craig, you're going to remember early on that Dorena was admonishing people not to use a ruler to get handy with the drawing tool, be it pencil or charcoal, whatever, and you draw from your shoulder to make lines, straight and to mark with a certain authority or athletic quality. I think that's well and good, but there are times when it's useful to rule your lines. I don't like to measure, but ruling can be good, and I'd see with your computer monitor, that might be a benefit. All right, now, I want you to look at the desk. I want you to look at the rear right edge, the vertical edge of the desk. That appears to be a longer length than the near corner, the edge on the near corner. Now, because it's further away, it ought to look smaller, or maybe they could be the same length, but certainly the rear edge ought not to look larger. I like that transparent glass. I'm looking at the base of the monitor there by it. I like the way I can see the base through the glass, by the way. But the base of the monitor, is that properly situated on the desk? Does it look like it's going to fall off the rear edge of the desk? Maybe check on that. Hi, Latron. I want you to listen to what I'm saying to Craig with regard to rear edges of rectilinear forms needing to be shorter than the nearer parallel edge. For instance, I think there's a Wacom tablet in the foreground of your drawing. Let its rear edge be shorter than the near edge, and also let the height be shrunken in keeping with foreshortening. And I'm wondering if foreshortening should affect the box there on the left more so. I'd like to see the way the cords wind off the edge of the desk here. Now, Matthew, things are looking pretty good. It feels as though you're looking at this from above, like a bird's eye view. I would suggest you double check the perspective on the box. Otherwise, things look good.